Creating art can make you miserable, but here are 5 ways to help you not get caught in that trap. 12 years ago, I stopped creating art. It wasn't a purposeful moment. I just fell into the trap of a busy life and I just stopped. And then the days turned into years without creating anything. And years later, when I was struggling with my mental health, a friend asked me what my hobbies were. I couldn't think of what to say besides mindlessly scrolling or watching TV. So after a lot of reflecting, I wondered, could art bring me happiness again? And the answer was yes, until it didn't. I was only creating art to make something beautiful. And if it wasn't beautiful, I just became unhappy and stressed throughout the whole process. So today, we're going to do a 30-day experiment. The goal is to draw something each day for 30 days. And each week I'm going to try a new method. And the ultimate goal here is to find out if art can be used to relax without stressing about the end product. And I'm also going to track how much I enjoyed each activity to give me a better picture of which one might be best for me. -2 being it sucked and it's not for me. 0 being neutral. And +2 being I really enjoyed this. So get cozy, stay for the vibes, create your own illustration along the way, and let's get started. So to begin this experiment, I'm starting this week with Zentangles. And for those who haven't heard about Zentangles before, it's kind of a meditative art form. It's all about creating these very intricate patterns, and there's these repetitive lines and shapes and strokes, and then at the end it all comes together to create this meditative artwork. So during this week, I experimented with different patterns, and these really allowed me to be creative, and the Zentangle patterns can be as simple or as complex as you like. So once I got into a flow, I ended up really enjoying them and getting lost in the moment. And it kind of gave me the structure that I needed to not make as many creative choices, so I could kind of enjoy the process a bit more. And when I charted this week on my happiness tracker, I was really in the positive. So all in all, I found them a really good way to de-stress. Now it's week 2, and I'm going to be exploring coloring pages. People say they've been proven to reduce stress and anxiety and promote mindfulness, and I know when I color something, it does help my brain focus on the present moment a little bit, so let's give it a try. So during this experiment, I tried different subjects, smaller objects, larger scenes. I used different supplies. I kind of switched in between my colored pencils and my alcohol markers. But I kind of found coloring pages more of a task to get through. But that being said, they did help with not worrying about perfectionism so much. The lines were already there, so you could just focus on the coloring process. So while I did find these somewhat soothing, they were kind of a bit boring for my taste. I often found myself reaching for my phone during that 30-minute time period, or wanting to multitask and watch TV, so it wasn't something that I could really fully immerse myself into the moment and just let me fully relax with. I just think I need to find something that requires a few more creative choices to fill my brain up, and it kind of allows me to focus more in the moment in front of me. But I think you can relax with this method if you like to focus on just one task at a time and would rather avoid making a lot of creative decisions. And on my happiness tracker, this one came in at a very neutral meh grade. It just didn't occupy my brain enough to silence it and fully relax, so I kind of gave this one a slightly negative grade. Now moving on to drawing prompts. I found a list online of basic one-word prompts, and they were pretty open to interpretation, so I used these as inspiration to make one drawing prompt each day. So these were kind of nice because it did take the pressure off with coming up with an idea from scratch every time. So you're kind of given a starting point and a tiny nudge in the right direction to get going on just creating something. And what I'm starting to realize with this experiment is the more creativity I'm allowed, the more my brain is working, and I'm enjoying it on a creative and intellectual level. But that's also when I start to get stressed out because it's not looking how I want it to look. But when I have one task to focus on, like coloring, I can focus just on relaxation in the process, but it's not as stimulating creatively. So for these drawing prompts, I thoroughly enjoyed making them, but also started to feel the stress coming up a little bit if they didn't turn out. So because I had a lot of creative freedom on this one, I scored drawing prompts quite high on the happiness tracker, and I really recommend these as small little projects to just feel good about. Now, it's the last full week and it's mandala time. Now, mandalas are intricate geometric patterns that can represent the universe or are sometimes used as a spiritual symbol. But this week, we're focusing on the art form of creating mandalas as a relaxation technique. People say that by creating these intricate designs, it can bring you into a state of mindfulness. So let's see what happens. So as I was creating these this week, I came to the realization that patterns are the way to go for me. I get to create the shapes and the lines and then repeat them. And there was something so satisfying about the symmetry of all of these. So I think out of all of the activities so far, I enjoyed these the most. And I think as long as you don't focus on making the perfect circle or never going over the lines, they're pretty enjoyable to make. It's not making a whole giant scene worrying about the composition and color and the stress that can accompany that, but it's about finding beauty in these small elements and repeating them. And there's something so meditative and satisfying about that. So I enjoyed these a lot, and my happiness tracker showed that too. And they were all around enjoyable because I was engaged with a complex enough project without having to make too many decisions. So I could really enjoy the process more. So to round this out for an even 30 days, I'm doing 2 last days of creative exercises. I'm using 2 books I have around the house, and the prompts range wildly, so I just picked 2 random ones. And while this was an easy way to get creative and doodle, I found I had similar feelings to the coloring pages. The doodle page I did just wasn't very stimulating, and I needed something more extensive to enjoy it. And for the other one, while I love plants, I found this very similar to the other coloring pages. It just wasn't enough. But I do think these would be really good exercises when you have a creative artist block or you just want to pick something up for your hands to do while you watch TV. But maybe that's just me. So while this wasn't a full week and it was just a really quick one, I still would give this a very neutral meh grade. So all in all, this experiment gave me some surprising results that I wasn't expecting. From these 30 days, I discovered that it wasn't really perfectionism and wanting to create these masterpieces that was holding me up. In the end, I discovered that to find relaxation, I really needed to have my mind fully engaged in the process with a complex enough task, but one that didn't have too many creative choices that I became overwhelmed or stressed out. And perfectionism certainly plays a role in that stress. But when the intention is to relax, I think being able to understand what you individually need is the key. So do you need to be fully engaged in a complex task? Or do you find relaxation through simple repetitive actions? Either way, give one of these methods a go, and I hope you found this 30-day experiment helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!